Okay, I want to thank our technicians here tonight and our camera crew. We have been having a couple of technical problems off air, but now hopefully we're on air and we're ready to go. Once again, I'd like to thank the proprietor of the Southside Sandwich Shop for the opportunity to give over 200 shiurim here. And I was telling him that, you know, the fact that we put up online last week that we're being evicted got us really a lot of hits. So it looks like, not that I wish eviction on anybody, but it looks like people are rooting for this store, and we hope that very shortly we'll have an alternative place of the Southside Sandwich Shop. We'll be able to move to a new location and begin another few hundred shiurim on the Parsha. The beginning of this week's Parsha discusses the mitzvah of Shemitah. And this year, with the Shnas HaShemitah coming up, and really it's less than 5 months away, so it is of course particularly relevant and very important that we understand what Shemitah is and what it really means to every single Yid, what it means to Eretz Yisrael, what it means to Klal Yisrael, and what Shmiras Shemitah means to the people who are actually keeping the Shemitah. And I could just mention right now that we actually have some Shomrei Shemitah and people in Eretz Yisrael that have told me that they're amongst our weekly audience, and we have people that will be keeping Shemitah in Eretz Yisrael that actually watch this shiur every week. So I feel a distinct privilege to be able, and I feel very humbled to be able to speak to these unbelievably chashuv people. The Nesivos Shalom discusses the fact that the Iker mitzvah of Shemitah is the extremely high level of emunah that Mekayimei Hashvius have. The people who are Mekayim Shemitah have an extremely high level of emunah. And the Nesivos Shalom brings down from the Noam Elimelech, and the Noam Elimelech brings it down b'shem his brother Reb Zisha Zechusa Yagen Aleinu. And it's interesting to note, if you take a look in the Sefer Torah Sa'avois, which is the Torah of the ancestors of the Slonim Rebbes and the Chasidus, where the line of Chasidus where Slonim did come from. So in the Sefer Torah Sa'avois, he brings down that the Rebbe Reb Zisha heard this from Eliyahu Hanavi. I don't get involved in these things. I'm just telling you what is quoted and what is said. And it's obviously a very chashuva idea. And he brings down on the pasuk, when the pasuk in this week's parsha talks about Shemitah, something very interesting that the pasuk says. The pasuk says like this, it asks a question. V'chisoimru ma noichal. If you're going to ask, everybody's going to ask, okay, we're keeping Shemitah, what are we going to eat? If you are going to say, what are we going to eat during Shemitah? We haven't planted, we haven't brought in any tvuah, we haven't done any work, so how are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? So the pasuk says, V'tzivisi es birchasi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I will command and I will give a very special bracha. So the Nesivos Shalom asks over here, why does the Torah, and he brings it down from the Rebbe Reb Zisha, he asked this question, why does the Torah need to bring down the question of V'chisoimru ma noichal? Why do we have to bring that down? Just say the bracha of Itzivisi es berchasi, that I'll give you a bracha, and then nobody will have to ask the question. Why does the Torah tell you that you're going to have to come on to the question of what are we going to eat? We don't have any food. We didn't do any work. We're not going to have any food. Just give a bracha and we'll have nothing to worry about. We don't find anywhere else in the Torah that the Torah mentions things in a question and answer way. What are we going to eat? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll give you a bracha. Right? We don't find, it seems to be very unique to Shavuos. And the Nesivos Shalom also asks over here, why would it matter what we say? Right? Why would it matter? Because we say, what are we going to eat? That's why we're going to get the bracha. Why does it matter what the lay person, what a person says? So listen to this unbelievable insight and lesson for every single person about the inyan of your parnasa, about the inyan of how you make a living. The Nesivos Shalom says a beautiful thought. He says, a yid who is a maimen, somebody who believes, and he has bitachon in Hashem at all times, and he has bitachon that what? That Hashem is going to provide your sustenance, right? A yid who has that kind of bitachon all the time does not need a special bracha. Listen to this beautiful thought. If you have bitachon, and you always realize that Hashem is the one who provides you with everything that you need, and it has nothing to do with you, you do not need a special bracha. Because the emunah and bitachon that you have, that alone, and the Nesivos Shalom says a lashon of a tzinor, a channel. That alone are the tzinorim, the channels that bring down to you the bracha of parnasa. That belief, that absolute belief. The shefa comes down without any impediments. You believe, you have an absolute bitachon in Hashem, that's the way the world is set up. You're going to get everything that you need. So if you do not ask the question of man noichal, we didn't work hard enough, I don't understand naturally a beteva how it's going to work. If you don't ask that question of man noichal, what are we going to eat? It means that your emunah is clear. And if your emunah is clear, you don't need any brachas. You don't have to come on to that bracha. However, if you do ask the question, the Torah tells you, if you ask the question, ma noichal, what will we eat? Then there's a bit of a deficiency in your emunah. You're already asking questions. And there's a deficiency in the shefa, in the bracha that Hashem could send down to you. So then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, the Torah says, then b'tzivisi asperchasi. Then I'm going to have to give you a special bracha. You're going to need the special bracha because you're lacking a little bit in the bitachon and emunah that you should have in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the purpose of Shemitah is to teach us this kind of clarity. This clarity in emunah without any questions. It's to teach you that your instinct should be to believe totally that Hashem is the one who sustains us and sends us a parnasa. It has zero to do with anything that you do. Your parnasa comes just from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you get that special bracha if you don't ask any questions. But if you ask the question, what are we going to eat? Yeah, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to send you down. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to send you down a special bracha that's reserved for the Shomer Shvius. And the Nesivos Shalom brings down from the Rishonah a beautiful thing. It says, he likens parnasa to the case, he says there's a case, a story of, there's a person who's a very big machnes oirach. Someone who accepts a lot of guests. And he treats guests with royalty, gives them everything that they need. And anyone that ever came to this town, they knew this is the person that takes in guests. He'll take you in and give you a good meal. So along comes a poor person to this town, and he heard about this person that takes everybody in and treats everyone so nicely and gives them a meal, and he says, I'm going to go to this person's house, and what I'm not going to do, I'm going to get a meal. So he walks up, he says, oh, the person lives on this block, yeah. He walks up the block, he knocks on the door, but he makes one mistake. He goes to the person's neighbor, and this machnes oirech, this person who's very generous and gives everybody, the neighbor, he's not there yet. He's not such a nice guy. So he knocks on the door, and the neighbor opens the door, and he says, what are you doing here? He says, what do you mean? I came for a meal. He says, oh. So he tells the guy, oh, you want a good meal? You got to go work. You have to go work. Go out for a couple of hours in the field. And the guy's like, I didn't know. They didn't tell me about this. This wasn't part of the deal. But he goes out. Go out and work in the field for a few hours, and then you get a meal. So he goes out, and he works for a few hours. And then what happens? He comes back in, and the person says, okay, now you earned your keep. Now you're going to get a meal. What does he do? He takes the person, and he sends him next door. Go next door, and you'll have your meal. This is the way, the Rishonah says, this is the way Parnasa works in Olam Hazeh. Whether you actually work or not, or work 24 hours a day, and you skip your shiur, and you come late to davening, or you run out of davening, and you work your head off, that has absolutely no bearing on your parnasa. Hashem will always sustain you. Hashem takes care of everybody. And any work that you actually do, says the Rishner, brought down Nesivos Shalom, you have to do your work for a different reason. It's because of the gezerah on the chait of the Eitz Hadas. The gezerah was bezeas apecha toichalechem. That's two separate things, that people are going to have to work. But it doesn't say anywhere that if you work like crazy, you're going to have more parnasa. You're going to have more. It's like the person who sends you to work and then sends you next door to have your free meal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's providing for everybody. And this is the lesson that we could all take out from the mitzvah of Shemitah and the Parsha. We have to have this absolute clarity that your parnasa is not contingent on whether you're out in your field, whether you're working in your field, whether you're in your office a whole day, whether you're in your business. That has nothing to do with your parnasa. Your parnasa has to do with emunah, with a person realizing that you can let your field go fallow, you can let your field go the entire year, and you can be busy with mitzvahs Hashem, devote your life to Kedusha, devote your life to good things, and you're still going to earn your parnasa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling you, don't worry, you're going to have everything. And the Nesivos Shalom ends off by saying, it is also this emunah that is the source of all the shefa in Eretz Yisrael. And that's why we see by the Toichacha, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu, unfortunately, sometimes has to punish Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the one thing that it speaks about in the Toichacha, doesn't mention any mitzvahs that you were over. It mentions one thing. It tells you that you lacked the emunah, you didn't keep Shemitah. Then the Toicha says, then Oz Tirza, the land will become desolate because you didn't keep Shemitah and you didn't have this level of emunah. And that's what we have to realize. That the less we work, the Torah is telling us, the less you work in Eretz Yisrael, the more bracha you're going to have. You work during the Shana of Shemitah, then one day it's going to be paid back from somewhere else. The less you work, you spend your time doing mitzvahs, you spend your time doing the right thing, you understand, you have that emunah, you have that bitachon, that where your parnasa really comes from, that's the lesson of this week's Parsha. That's the lesson of Shemitah. So unfortunately, us here in Chutz La'aretz, we don't have the chance, even though I think we got like a big packet in the mail this week, how you could be part of Shemitah. I didn't get to read it yet, but maybe I'll try to read it in the next couple of days. But we could support the people who do Shemitah. But besides supporting the Chasheva farmers and people in Eretz Yisrael who do Shemitah, you have to support yourself for Shemitah. You have to learn the lessons. What's Shemitah all about? Shemitah is about the lesson of Emunah and Bitachon.